Hi, everybody, and thanks so much for tuning in to the Career Development Center's Hustle TV. Today's lesson is about how to have that perfect resume. So we have some quick tips that we like to share with you. Let's get started. So understanding what a resume is. Keep in mind, the resume is what the employer sees before they actually meet you. It is an overview of your education experiences and skills that's used to market yourself. So you may feel that you don't have that many experiences. Trust me, you do. This is the opportunity where you get to show off who you are. Tell the employer why they should take you into consideration for the opportunity. Let's go to the next slide, please. This is a sample of a clean resume. You want to make sure that it is all similar fonts and sizes so that it is not confusing. It's not overlapping, so the spacing is even. And it's clear to read. Next slide, please. Can you give an estimate of the average time an employer recruiter spends reviewing a resume? Just think about it. They get hundreds of emails with resumes from applicants, so they can only spend about less than 30 seconds on each resume. That means you need to make sure that your resume stands out. It has those buzzwords that's going to capture those attention of the reader. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the presentation. Next slide. Here are some of the key sections that should appear in your resume. You want to make sure that you have contact information, which is your name, phone number, and email. You do not necessarily need to have your home address anymore. Just these key information, the name, phone, and email. Your education, relevant work experience, relevant meaning that complement the specific job that you are applying for. Volunteer and involvement, maybe you've performed some type of community service. Many employers are always looking for those opportunities to give back, or they partner with some type of charity. So when they see that you have been actively engaged in some type of community service, it looks as if you could be a right fit for that opportunity. Skills that you may have. And then additionally, for those that may be marketing majors or creatives, you want to include your social media and LinkedIn addresses. Now with that social media, you have to be very careful because it should be your brand. So you want to make sure that that social media represents who you are in the professional world. Now, if you have a private social media for your friends and family, make sure that that is kept secure. The LinkedIn profile should always be listed on your resume. This is your professional digital resume, if you will. Employers check those LinkedIn accounts to see your personal networks and your professional networks. This is also a great way for recruiting, but that's another workshop. Another item that you would like to make sure that you include in your resume are any professional affiliations. So if you are a journalism major, you may be a member of the National Alliance of Journalists. So you want to make sure that you list that. If you are in a fraternity or sorority, you want to list that. If you've established or written any publications, make sure that you list those, or even featured in any. Maybe you're an athlete and you received an honor. Maybe you are in academia and you received a certificate or recognition for high grades. You want to make sure that you list this on your resume. In addition to any presentations that you may have participated in and any certificates and or licenses. This is your opportunity, again, to show off who you are and what you can do to help make you stand out amongst all other applicants. The reasons that people deny resumes, can you guess? What are the top reasons? Those unprofessional email addresses. So you want to keep your email address as clean and professional as possible. For CSU students that are still in school applying for opportunities, we highly recommend that you utilize your school email address. So for us, it's lpalme21@csu.edu. Now, my personal email address is actually still very professional because it's my first name dot my last name at Gmail. In another life, my fun email address could be cutiepie18@gmail. That wouldn't go on a resume. Remember, you want to make sure that you are professional from start to finish. Next slide.
All right. So hi, everyone. I'm going to take you through some of the sections in a little more depth for your resume. So let's start with your education section. The right resume education order is to place your highest degree first and then anything else after that. So we like to call that reverse chronological order. So say you have a doctoral degree in education, you will list that uh, degree first, and then you will list a master's level degree, and then your undergraduate degree right after that one. Um, do not add any high school information once you begin your college career. It is assumed that you have your high school diploma or your GED. It's just your university degrees will qualify you for any roles and opportunities that you are looking to get into. Add any relevant coursework, honors, and awards you've received. So in this example below, you will see that this individual added that um, they've had experience with analytical chemistry, inorganic chemistry, physical chemistry, and so on. They also noted that they wrote a senior thesis and also spent time working in research laboratories. So any of those experiences that align with your educational history, please add those in this education section. Next, we want to talk about your work experience and your key achievements. So obviously everybody wants to know, what have you done in the past that qualifies you for the role that you're applying for as far as work is related. So these are the things that are a must have when you're listing your relevant work experiences and your key achievements. So the first thing is your job title. At the very top of each entry of each work history, you have to let the potential human resources person or talent acquisition professional know what the job title was of that role that you had. Next, you want to list the company that you worked for and the city and state in which that company is located. And then next, you have to have your dates of employment so that they can see your entire time frame of how long you were employed at that employer. Um, you can list, make sure you are paying attention to the format. So if you start one job description with a month and a year, make sure you end with the month and the year, and also do that for the rest of your um, job job descriptions that come after that one. You want to list the key responsibilities. So these are what we will call your bullet points. Bullet points are so much easier to read because it allows the reviewer of your resume to go point by point to see what are the most relevant things that you did in your old jobs that will transfer over to your new jobs. They are looking for these keywords or these highlights that allow them to know what your transferable skills are and what technical skills that you have. Your key achievements. So these are often overlooked, but they are super important. These things show that you have been maybe recognized for the great work that you've done, and that you are able to put forth that effort into the roles that you have coming up. And then, as before, I mentioned keywords. So keywords are things that relates specifically to a job or a company or an industry that might um, make your resume a little more attractive or marketable. For example, we're going to talk about hard skills and soft skills. So things like data analysis, copywriting, accounting, mathematics, graphic design, those might be some of those hard skills that could also serve as keywords in your resume descriptions. Um, those will allow your resume to stand out in case an actual person is reviewing your resume, or if they are using some type of technology that feeds your resume through a machine before a person even looks at it, looking for those types of keywords. So making sure that you drop a few of those keywords into your resume from time to time in your job descriptions are going to make sure your resume gets a thumbs up. um, Hard skills versus soft skills. So soft skills, as you see listed here, are also extremely important to have on your resume, listed on your resume, maybe under a skills or a highlight section. These are competencies that employers are really looking for in college graduates. So things like communication, being able to work in a team, leadership, creativity. Those are or what allows an individual to take on different types of tasks and roles and be able to translate them over from one project to the next. So these all of these skills serve a different purpose, but they are all important to what you need to be successful in your transition into the workplace. And 93% of recruiters are likely to look at a candidate's what? Your social media profiles. Yes, all of your social media profiles. So you want to make sure that um, those accurately display who you are. We know those are personal sites, but you want to be mindful of what you are putting out there to the world. There are certain organizations and companies that will look for your face across all social media platforms just by entering your names or your social media profiles just to see if you pop up in the back of someone else's photos, and you want to be mindful of what you are doing in those photos. So just be mindful that people actually do take a look at your social media before they submit you through the hiring process. So just think about, what am I actually doing on a day to day, or what am I um, what am I presenting to the world, and how do I want to be seen as a candidate for a role or a company?
And now we're going to discuss some key points that you want to make sure that you highlight in your resume. So, dates and locations are extremely, extremely important on a resume. You always want to make sure that you're listing the dates that you worked for your employer and you're listing the city and state that your job was located. A lot of times, employers want to know about geographical areas. Maybe you're going to be going into a role that has a territory. So, they want to know what areas you've been familiar with. So dates and locations are extremely important on a resume. If you have dates that are overlapping, maybe you worked more than one job at the same time, that is completely fine. You just want to make sure that you're able to elaborate that in an interview because an employer may see some overlapping dates and be a little bit confused. So you just want to make sure that you address that in an interview. You should also tailor your resume to reflect the attributes of the position you are applying for. So, again, this is going back to the position description, taking a look at some of those keywords or buzzwords that you see in the position description, and make sure that you're tailoring your resume to reflect that you can do that job. It is completely fine and almost recommended that you have more than one resume. You may have a resume for each industry that you're applying to. That is completely okay. Most candidates have more than one resume that they use. Be sure that your education and experiences are in reverse chronological order. Again, reverse chronological order is most recent or current position to your oldest position. So you always want to have your most recent education, your most recent positions, everything on your resume. You want to have most recent to oldest. Consistency is key. This is super, super, super important. On your resume, you want to make sure that you're consistent. You want to make sure that your formatting is consistent. How you have each job listed on your resume, each position following that should be formatted the same. How you have your education listed on your resume, each degree after that or educational experience, it should be formatted the same way, even down to your bullet points. I know this is small, but if you have a period at the end of each bullet, make sure all of your other bullets have periods. So consistency is key and crucial. Simple is always better. You never want to have a resume that's distracting to your reader. Depending on the industry, some that are in arts and fine arts and social media, of course, your resume may be a little bit more colorful. It may have a little bit more of a creative spin on it. But for some of your more conservative industries like business and finance, you want to make sure that your resume is simple, concise, and to the point. It's easy for the reader to read, it's easy for the reader to look at, and it's not distracting. Keeping your resume as close to one page as possible is ideal, but not always the rule. Now, if you don't have as much work experience, you've been in college, you're a college student, so your academic experience is what you want to play up here. But you want to try to keep your resume to one page if possible. Now, if you've been working in an industry for, 7+ years, 10+ years, then it's going to be a little bit harder to keep it to one page. But you'd never want to try to go past 2 pages because you don't want to lose your reader's attention. So make sure if you can, keep it to one page, but it's not always the case, especially if you have more professional experience that you want to highlight. The job description should be in a list form with at least 3 bullets per job description. So your reader never wants to read paragraphs. They want to see it concise, they want to see it right in front of them, and they want to easily be able to read what you've done, the responsibilities that you've had, and what type of achievements did you make while you were on the job. So keep that to bullets. You don't want to have only 1 or 2 bullets under a position, but at least a minimum of 3. And you really want to highlight what your responsibilities were in that role. If there were any things that you were acknowledged for or awarded for, did you go above and beyond and make a difference? You want to make sure that you can have quantifiable information. Did you increase numbers? Did you increase sales goals? Anything that showcases and highlights your leadership and how you go above and beyond, you want to make sure that you put in that job description. In that position responsibility section of the job. And you may have more than one version of your resume, and we kind of touched on this a little bit before. Again, you want to tailor your resume to that industry. If you are looking for an administrative and clerical position, you want to have a resume that's tailored to that. Maybe you're looking for more of a leadership and managerial position. You want to have a resume that highlights your leadership skills. So having more than one resume is completely fine. It just depends on the role that you're applying for. Next slide, please. Think before you type. You never want to use first person pronouns on your resume. So I, me, my, mine. You never want to put those pronouns on your resume. It should be in a business format. So you're speaking in concise and short terms, and making sure that it's clear to the reader. Do not add references to your resume. A lot of times you will actually have to add this on an application. So there's no need to write references available upon request. If an employer wants to move forward with you and they want to get in contact with a previous employer or a supervisor, they're definitely going to ask you for that information, and you actually may have to put it in your application upfront. High school information. We're in college now, so we know that you graduated high school. So you don't necessarily need to put this on your resume. Focus on your college experience and what you've done in college and the accomplishments that you've made since you've been in college. Again, color. This depends on the industry, going back to those that might be in social media, influencing, and fine arts and graphic design. You may have a more colorful resume, but again, if you're in a more conservative industry, you want to keep your colors very basic, very neutral. So just be very aware of the colors that you're using on your resume. identifying information, age, race, sex, religion, etc. You don't have to identify, you do not have to disclose any identifying information about yourself on your resume. So just please keep that in mind. You do not have to disclose this information on your resume. And same going back to the address on your resume. That's some of those are security reasons. You don't have to put that on your resume, your address. Now you may put a city and a state because if you're applying to a job that you have to live in the city of Chicago for, that's one thing. But you never have to put any identifying information on your resume. A photo or a headshot. We like to say, save this for LinkedIn. And we hope that you all have a LinkedIn profile because we just had an employer insight and companies are saying their number one sourcing platform that they use is LinkedIn. But please save your photo or your headshot for LinkedIn. That is the platform and the professional platform where you want that to be. And again, this is just identifying information. You never want to give more information than you have to. And a lot of times, some of the identifying information you give on the application. So that is more, it is important that you fill out the application completely, but you do not have to give this information on your resume. Next slide. Here we have a list of resources that you can use as you move forward in your job search process, as you move forward when you're updating your resume. Our website is listed at the top. We are on the CSU website. So if you go to csu.edu, we are career development, or you can type it into the search bar, career development, and our homepage will pop up for you. And below that, you will see our job board. We do have an in-house job board that you can sign into and look at all of the opportunities that come into the Career Development Center. We do post those on our job board, so feel free to take a look at that. We update it weekly because we are constantly getting new opportunities. So just make sure that you are taking a look at our job board weekly because the opportunities do change and you want to be aware of deadlines. Opportunities for diverse learners. We have a partnership with Inclusively. And so if you have any additional needs that you may need while you are applying to positions, any additional resources that you may need, feel free to take a look at Inclusively, with our partnership with Inclusively, and they have a plethora of resources for you to use. Also, please make sure that you are using our accessibility office in the Student Union building. If you have additional needs and resources that you might need while you're on campus, definitely make sure that you make an appointment with them as well. And resume templates. So we like to make sure that, if you're using, I always say rule of thumb is if you're using a template for a resume, it has to be a template that you can maneuver and you can update. A lot of times, if it's a template that you didn't create yourself and you're trying to change it and add information and update information, a lot of times you're not able to change it and update it because it has tables and all of these things on the resume that are hard to maneuver. So just make sure that if you do use a template, it's something that is easy for you to update, making sure all of your lines are, the same length and they start in the same position on the document. But we do have a partnership with Resume Template. If you do not have a resume and you would like to get one started, feel free to visit resumetarget.com/CSU, and you will be able to look at tons of templates based on positions. So if you are trying to apply to a specific position and you want to take a look at what resumes look like within that industry, feel free to start there. We still recommend that you always have your resume reviewed and seen by multiple people so that we can provide some feedback for you on your resume and any changes that you may make that help make you a more suitable candidate for a position. So definitely take a look at resume templates. If you're just trying to see what resumes look like in a specific industry, and always reach out to us for resume reviews. We are more than happy to do that as well. Next slide, please. We are definitely looking forward to working with you. Our contact information is here on this slide. Our email addresses are listed as well. And we do have a service where you can sign up to receive text messages if you would like to know about updates, opportunities, events that are happening in the Career Development Office. We highly recommend that you sign up for text messages. And all you have to do is send a message to 81010. And in the body of the message, you are going to put the code that you see here at CDERC. And again, you're going to send that message to 81010 with the code @CDERC. Now, if you're unable to receive text messages for any reason, you can always download the application and receive notifications that way. You can sign up on the website and receive email updates if we send out a message, and all of that is done on Remind. So if you go to remind.com, you can download the application for your phone. You can sign up to receive messages that way, or you can create an account on their website to receive the updates via email. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We have Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we have started our own YouTube channel. So this is new for this school year, and we're going to continue this. So follow us on all social media platforms, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you are updated anytime we have a new video for you to view. So we will be having lots of videos with employers, different industry insights, so that you can learn about different industries and what you need to do to make sure that you're prepared to enter those industries, because we want everyone to walk away from CSU with a job once you graduate. So that is all that we have here for you today. Don't be scared don't hesitate, I should say, because you're not scared. Don't hesitate to meet with us. Get your resumes reviewed, meet with us for career counseling, internship, and job search opportunities. Definitely make an appointment to meet with us. Our email addresses, again, are here. Our social media platforms are listed here. And don't forget to sign up for text messages. Thank you so much.